So this is Dan of Vagabond Awake. I'm lucky today to bring two guest stars to the channel for you guys to meet a couple that's living an extraordinary life that I really believe my subscribers will be excited about, and I'm certainly excited about hearing their story. Here with us today we have Shannon and Sergio, and they're going to describe how they slow travel the world, which I love to do, and they're doing it on 7,000 roughly per year as international house sitters. And they're going to share with us how they maintain a web page, and I'll give you the link to that. In fact, I'll put it on the screen for you that you can go read. They're great writers, they're very entertaining, and they'll share how they keep their expenses down on their web page, just like I do on mine. And while they travel the world and pursue what's called the FIRE or Financial Independence Retire Early system. And so that's why I'm excited to hear. Welcome to the channel, Shannon and Sergio.
Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
we're glad that we're finally able to talk since one of our friends introduced us.
Yeah, and that seems like it's been a while, maybe 6 months ago at least.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yep.
Yeah. So before setting off, how did you prepare for travel?
So we did a lot of, we're planners by nature. So there was a lot to some people, more power to them. They can just kind of grab a bag and just buy a ticket and get up and go. We're not like that.
It's not us.
That's not us. So for us, it was very much like, okay, so we gotta sell this, and we gotta list that, and we gotta donate this, and we have to go through things, and
we want the right credit card, and we want to make sure their expirations aren't going to go when we're abroad, and what backpack are we going to get, and so we ended up with this giant list of everything that we wanted
dozens
to do.
And dozens of things, probably 60, 70 items. And
sounds like you guys know something about project planning or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sounds like a program manager.
Yeah. Well, Shannon's a program manager, so that makes a lot of sense. And I work in IT, so I'm very process oriented.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so
we wrote out this list, and then we just went through it. And eventually, once we felt comfortable, we decided that it was time to set off. We did things we tried dozens of backpacks. We actually ordered them. We went on trial runs, test runs, loaded them. It was pretty exhausting.
Yeah. So when we kept the list on our website as well, so other people can.
Perfect.
Like us use it. Yeah.
Yeah. So once we did the list, we're like, there might be some value to this for other people. So we wrote this really long, extensive article with dozens of items. And again, I mean, it basically it suits the individual. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do any of it. But there's probably at least a handful of things on there that you're like, wow, I hadn't thought about that, or that could really save me a lot of stress or anxiety if I end up I don't take care of that.
Wow, value. So would it be okay if we're going to put a link to your webpage? Can we make that be the link that they go to and read about when they're ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually have a page on our site that's it's @𝐷theaverage.com/start here, and that's kind of like a cheat sheet of all of like the greatest articles, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Sounds great. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure it'll be helpful. So what is an international house sitter, and how do you find places to stay for free? That's incredible.
Yeah, so we would say house sitting is anybody can take care of someone's home when the owner goes for any reason. So, that's travel, holiday, work, going to visit family. And we come in as house sitters and take care of the home. And if there's pets, we take care of the pets. And we've done that in over a dozen countries now, and all over the US and Europe. And we have been asked why we don't charge. Some people sometimes assume that we charge. And we really like the reciprocity between us and the homeowner, and that sense of gratitude, appreciation, the services that we're providing along with the services they provide us. It's an incredible relationship that you build. And we have pets from all over the country or all over the world that we know, along with friends, like people that are like family to us now.
Yeah, and it's incredible how immensely grateful people have been and open. hey, come back. Hey, how come you haven't come back and visited us? Just checking in with you guys. Oh, the article you guys wrote was amazing. You guys are still up to those crazy adventures, or when's the next time you're coming out here? I mean, it's just, feel free to come early, feel free to stay late. I mean, people have just been overwhelmingly just friendly and kind. So it's why we don't charge, because we're really looking for a specific type of house sit versus someone who's just looking for a free or a cheap place to stay where they're not paying rent. We're looking for someone that looks at it as a sense of like they're grateful for us to take on the responsibility to care for their home, their most prized possessions, their pets, and we're just as we're grateful for them to opening up their home and trusting us with those responsibilities, instead of someone that says, oh, well, I paid you, I have a certain sense of expectation or entitlement. This is what you should do. This is how I may be able to speak to you or treat you or whatnot.
Right. Well, that's fascinating. So now I can see clearly why you've been so successful at house sitting, with that kind of attitude of a mutual exchange for value. And so that brings up the question for me. So I know you've been doing this for about a few years. So in 2019, there must be transitional times where you're not house sitting. So 2019 and 2020, how much have you had to pay in rents in those 2 years when you're not sitting at a house taking care of someone's pet and plants and that kind of thing?
Well, it always floors everybody. We probably a couple $100 each year.
Yeah, for the entire year. I mean, it was incredible. We spent many months in New York City house sitting, and people were like, you did what? And we just went from sit to sit to sit to sit. And out of that period of time, I think there was 3 or 4 days that we had to actually pay out of pocket for lodging, because every other day we were able to do sits, line them up.
Wow, that's crazy. And you guys do like an annual report too, if I recall, reading on your webpage, where you talk about each year what your spend has been, like not just like rent, but like everything, groceries and just everything, right?
Yeah, we track everything, and for us, being able to do house sits back to back, and it's all about flexibility, and it's about traveling the opportunity rather than deciding exactly where you want to go for the dates you want to go, because then you box yourself in. But yeah, we do have every year now, we've started doing a kind of a wrap up at the end of the year, talking about all of everything we spend in probably a dozen categories. So this past year and the year before, it was 7,000. And then when we did travel abroad, our very first year, it was, 3 continents, 23 countries, 60 cities, 18 houses, and we spent 16,000. Like all inclusive, sightseeing, experiences, everything.
You spent how much?
16,000.
16,000. Okay. And so, and that must have been before 19, because like 2018. Wow.
Well, that was actually
2017.
Yeah, it was 2016 into 2017, a year of travel.
Okay.
The first year, basically. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that our initial goal when we decided to go overseas was that we were going to travel for a year. And after that, we didn't really know what the future was going to hold, or if we enjoyed it, or if we came back early. But we were like, hey, let's just go for a year and let's see where we go from there. And that initial year ended up being
then that was faster travel.
Yeah, so it was much faster. It's why we spent so much more money. We basically did everything we wanted to. Went to really expensive countries like Switzerland or Norway, and really inexpensive countries like Egypt and Bucharest.
Wow. So that first year of international travel, you spent 16, and then over the last 2 years that you have data for 19 and 20, you spent $7,000, and that's all in, right? Is that the deal? So that's not just rent, that's all in.
Yeah, that's all in, and that's all in the United States. So it may not be difficult to have those numbers in Southeast Asia, but we think it's pretty incredible to be able to do it in the United States. So
totally. That's great. So what are the top secrets about your house sitting profile that distinguish you from other house sitters? Why do you have a free roof over your head most of the year? I mean, because there are the people that do what you do and they're not as successful, from what I hear.
Yeah,
your numbers are just insane.
Yeah. So we took what our character, our personality, or just our traits just in and of themselves, and we just apply them to house sitting as an extension of ourselves. So we're professional, we're courteous, we're transparent, we value communication, we're very timely with our communication. Our profile is completely filled out. We have a dozen photos, very well written, grammar, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and it's even when we're doing the house sit, it's more than just caring for it as if it's our own home. It's even higher than that because it's someone else's. So there's a huge sense of responsibility. I think a lot of people think that house sitting is a free place to stay and it's a vacation, but you're still caring for a home and an animal, and animals get sick and storms happen and water heaters break, and you are the one who's taking on that responsibility. So we take it very seriously. So our pictures are well versed, our profiles are very detailed, and we even link to our LinkedIn profile.
Wow, so you're treating it very professionally, and that information is available to potential people that will have a house open for a few months, so they can actually go read all that information and see, what your personal qualities and whatnot. So that's very clear.
And then when we submit an application, we're very thorough with the application. We provide a bit of a background. Again, we really want to give a holistic view of who we are, so that the homeowner, for all intents and purposes, you're essentially applying for a job. You may not be getting compensated for it, but they're allowing you to come into their most sacred spaces, right? Their most private spaces. Right. So you have to put yourself in their shoes. What would you look for? What would make you comfortable? What would put you at ease? Totally. And that's kind of how we try to look at it and present it that way.
And again, we have a guide on our site that we went through. It's a 6-part series. It could be like a mini book of everything that we do to hopefully help other people do the same. We've had people comment like, why would you share all of this? Why would you give away your secrets? You're just making it harder. But this is an amazing light. Like we're doing what we love and we're happy doing it. And if that's going to make someone else happy, like we want to share that.
Wow, that's great, you guys. That's the spirit I hope that I'm able to achieve on my channel too, where I get more than my subscriber or readers able to, they get more from their time than they're giving. So that's good for you. Thanks so much. So now the other fascinating thing about you two is that you're minimalists, which I think of myself. And so what are the starkest examples of minimalism that show up in your life, the way you're living it?
We'd say our 36-liter backpack. We've basically been traveling the world for over 4 years in a 36-liter backpack, and it's not full. It was full once upon a time, but within about 3 weeks of us landing in Dublin, Ireland, we were like, wow, this is way heavier than we thought. There's more in here than we need, and within a few weeks, we had sent stuff back home. And since then, we've pared down slightly more, and now we're probably somewhere in the 1/2 to 3/4 of a range of each of our backpacks capacity.
Wow, that's great and perfect. So now you also adhere to the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. Tell us tell people what is that and how does that show up in your short-term goals and your long-term goals?
So for us, financial independence, retire early is really the idea that if you're able to save a large percentage of your income, you will be able to become financially independent and make work optional. For us personally, we're much more about being financially independent than retiring early. We don't plan, when we hit our FIRE moment number, or however you want to define it, we won't just stop working. The irony with most people that are into FIRE is that they're go-getters, they're type A personality, they're very ambitious, they're very driven. You don't expect to just be successful in your career for 5, 10, 20 years and all of a sudden say, well, I guess I'm just gonna like sit on the couch and do whatever it is I want to do for the next 40, 50 years. That's not really gonna happen. So you become selective in who you work with. You become selective in how long or how often you work, or what you charge, or maybe you're volunteering, or you're whatever it is. There's no wrong answer, right? For us personally, like our short-term goals, is to have a really high savings rate. It's to be mindful of what we're spending, to be very intentional with where we're spending our money, where our money's going, and also the trip abroad was really to prove to ourselves that even though we weren't technically fired, and for a lot of people who fire, they're like holy grail is to say, I want to travel now, I want to be independent, I want to be location independent. We said, what if we turn that model on its head and say, even though we're not fired and we're pursuing it and we're continuing to work, can we do this? And obviously, we not only did we prove it in that year, but we've proven it over the last 4 years that yes, we can. We can work, we can fire, we can pursue fire, we can travel, and we can live remarkably inexpensively versus living in just about any other part of the world.
I think it'll be harder for us to learn to spend more. Our goal is to spend more in the future.
Yep.
But overall, when we talk about fire for us, I think is very much freedom. It's freedom to do whatever makes us happy, whatever that is. We're not beholden to anything or anyone. It's us and the world, however, whatever we want to do.
And this is just our take. There's a lot of people that have a different interpretation of it, or say are very much like, once you fire, you don't want to. Once I fire, I will never work again. And that's, or whatever your interpretation is, that's fine. It just happens to be that for us, we definitely enjoy what we do. We have great clients, and we definitely foresee ourselves continuing to work. We may not work as long, or we may charge more, or we may volunteer more instead of working, but we will definitely have some type of like quote unquote job.
You'll just have total choice about what you do, which is, that's great. I'm guilty as charged. I'm that way now. I mean, I don't really need to have this channel, but I love it. And why wouldn't I do it? People see value. And so anyway, you're helping with me fire, if you will. Thank you so much. So you're both still working as consultants. You just hinted to that a second ago. Since you're able to live on so little, approximately what percentage of your incomes are you presently able to save for early retirement? Maybe now, maybe when you were doing 16,000 and maybe now when you're doing 7,000 a month in total expenses.
Yeah, it really varies month to month and year to year since we're consultants, right? So it's probably anywhere from, it's 75% plus, yep, depending on the year.
And we've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate over the years, even though we're traveling, even though we're not face-to-face in an office or with colleagues or with a client, and with COVID, that over time, the opportunities have presented themselves and we've been able to capitalize on them. Our income has gone up.
A lot of people have said that, oh, you're traveling the world and now you need to be a remote worker. You must be making less.
Or you're sacrificing moving up or getting bonuses or promotions. And thankfully for us, that hasn't actually happened.
Yeah. You probably have an additional passion in your life because everything about your life's in alignment. So and everyone's working remotely already, during this pandemic thing. So no one has a jump on you because they're sticking their face in a cubicle every day. So I can totally see why you're able to achieve those numbers. So at what age do you expect to retire, if you think you will, and what will be different in your daily routines? You kind of hinted at this, but once you retire, what do you see as those projects you're going to want to take on, maybe more of and less of other projects, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I don't think we have a specific age. It's that freedom. So probably in the next few years, we will quote retire, but our day-to-day life is that freedom. So we might go, I do program and project management. So I might take on a project or a program for a couple months, and then do nothing for a few months. It's just what is intriguing, what is interesting, who's the client, what drives me. And same for Sergio with his clients. So I could see us doing nothing when it comes to work and just relaxing wherever we are, or traveling fast wherever we are, or staying slow, and then occasionally saying, okay, well, now we're working an 8-hour day, or we're working, a late night because we're abroad and with someone still in the US or something like that. Like it could be anything.
It sounds like we're very fortunate, like yourself, where we both don't have to be doing what we're doing, but we enjoy it, so we continue to do it.
Yeah.
So, for all intents and purposes, we could have fired years ago if we really wanted to, especially if we were willing to continue living the way we are now. But we intentionally don't want to live the way we are now. We want to spend more. We want to have a few more comforts. We want to travel with family, and that takes obviously more resources, more income. So, and we're happy with what we're doing. There's some great opportunities that have presented themselves in the last 2 years. So we're continuing to be involved and be part of them.
That's great. So tell us about travel hacking and how it helps to keep your travel budget low.
Well, travel hacking is just the idea that you're leveraging mostly miles and points from, say, credit card sign-up bonuses or some type of activity or promotion in order to offset the cost of paying for travel. So instead of you actually paying out of pocket for a flight or a hotel stay or whatnot, you essentially leverage the miles and points from the frequent flyer, frequent travel programs to pay for or drastically reduce the amount of money that you're paying for out of pocket. We've done some crazy things when it comes to travel hacking. We've done something called a mattress run, which is the idea that for some people it means booking a room that you never intend to stay in and just reaping the rewards, the points that come along with it.
The points or the promotion or the
status.
The status with the hotel.
For us, our definition of mattress run in the best case scenario is staying in a place that we're going to be for anyway, and basically getting it for free or making points or miles on top of that. So we had this crazy mattress run. We were in Portland, Oregon a few years back, and we were going to go to San Miguel de Allende to do a house sit. So we had to be in the area anyway, but we didn't have lodging before and after the particular house sit. So we decided that we were going to see what our options were. And long story short, Hilton was running a promotion where we ended up staying 41 nights at 4 different Hilton properties.
We basically rotated through them. So every night was a different property, to the point that they started to get to know us. And they asked us at the very end, they're like, are you guys secret like hotel shoppers?
Yeah, they thought we were like undercover boss or secret shoppers or something. Because we were there every day for 41 nights, going from place to place.
But we ended up getting status, so the elite status, diamond status, for an additional year. And we made 12,000 points.
We ended up making like 12,500 more points than we ended up paying for initially.
Yeah. And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. So we've done that. We've done that in other parts of the country. We just did one, for example, in Colorado with month Hyatt. Or so back to get diamond or globalist status with Hyatt.
Wow.
So we've done the first trip that we took, actually, when we left the country in 2016, we flew from San Diego to Dublin with a night in an Airbnb in Boston it was like $70 a piece.
Wow, that's great.
So
that's great.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, we document stuff. We have examples on our site.
Yeah.
Before COVID really hit, obviously we don't really travel very much. We're usually just in one area for the foreseeable future. We have been, and that's kind of what we project. Every month we would have like a series that basically says, these are the things that we did. This is how many points we made. This is the benefits we took, we leveraged, the status, the perks, things like that.
Cool. Yeah, you guys are very good at that kind of stuff and kind of shedding light on things in detail so that people can pick up on it and learn pretty quick what you're up to. So do you have any plans to buy a property or create a home base? And if so, what country would serve as your home base, and how much time each year would you spend there?
We've been to a lot of places that we love and can totally see ourselves living there. But even, especially when COVID hit, we had friends who asked us, so are you settling down now? Like, is this the end of it?
Like, this must be it, right? You're getting an RV, you're getting an apartment, you're moving in with your parents. And we're like, nope, we're going to keep trying.
Like, I want to travel even more now than we did before. Yep. So I don't think anytime in the foreseeable future.
Our travel has changed. We're not going, hopping on planes, going from country to country. We're picking a region and we're staying there. So essentially it consists of just house sitting in San Diego or in the Portland area or whatever area. But we're still able to do house sits. We're still able to keep our costs extremely low, and we're still able to make friends. And
when it's safer, we cannot wait to go abroad again.
Yeah, we're definitely itching to travel more extensively.
That's great. So have you been doing this for years now? You mentioned 2019, 20, and 2020, and then a year of international travel. When did you start this, and what would you change, knowing what you know now? Because it sounds like you've learned so much.
Yeah, we gave up our keys in September of 2016 to our apartment. And that's when we narrowed our stuff down to, got rid of like 90% of our belongings. And we didn't look back. I think we may have tried to do it sooner, knowing what we know now. Or we've talked about, we wish we had stayed longer in Europe and abroad that initial year. But when we were done with that initial year, we're like, what in the world why would we go back to the standard 9 to 5, buy a home life? Like we love this. And we have continuously adapted our travel. Like we mentioned earlier, we realized right away within the first couple of weeks that our backpacks were too heavy for us, and we got rid of stuff. So we're constantly seeing how can we make it that much better? Just those little incremental changes. So there's not a lot that we're like, oh, we totally would have done this differently, because we try to do kind of those lessons learned post-mortem, like how can we make this better? Even with house sitting, we do that. At the end of every house, we're like, okay, what did we learn from the situation? Like, how can we not run into this again? Or how can we make next time better?
Or how is it our fault versus just the easy way out, just pointing the finger saying, oh, it's their fault or they've miscommunicated, trying to take personal accountability for it.
Right. So after years of traveling full time, what have been some of your favorite experiences?
We had the opportunity of going to, like Shannon said, 23 countries and 60 cities. I just had the opportunity to visit so many different cultures and different languages, different alphabets, different customs. And when we were initially doing this, when we got to a location where we knew we were going to go there, we had no idea of what we wanted to see, or what the costs were, or times, or what
we would spend hours.
What the schedule was going to be.
Research.
So we spent hours and hours and hours trying to just synthesize all this down. So we ended up creating like Google Maps for ourselves and putting notes on times and what we were looking at, instead of just showing up and being like, well, that's a beautiful X, but we don't know when it was built, or it's closed, or
the meaning behind it.
Yeah. So we ended up, again, just like we did on the guide that what to do before you travel, like the to-do list. We did the same thing with the cities, and we created city guides in just about every city that we went to. So, and
all of our favorite stuff, all of our favorite spots, all of the amazing things. Like when you walk around a city, what you see as opposed to driving is incredible. You turn around a corner and you're like, this wasn't in any guidebook.
Right.
Like
you stumble across a mural or a sculpture or.
Yeah. And I would say the generosity that people have had. We have missed trains and found, someone gave us a ride into the next city, and ended up being one of the most positive people we've ever met. We've been through a lot of challenges, a lot of you show up at an Airbnb and you think it's going to be something, and you think it's going to be X, and it ends up being Y.
But you've curated, by the way, right? You've asked questions, the internet speed, is there chairs, is there desk, is there a couch? Sure, they assure you, they'll send you a picture, and then you get there and you're like, it doesn't really meet what you told us or what you told us in the photograph. And you just got to adapt. I mean, you can complain, you can be bitter, you can ruin the experience, or you can just adapt and just go with it.
The amount of growth you get out of that is amazing. When you make yourself continue to be uncomfortable, by the end of it, you're like, oh, this wasn't that bad. This was actually pretty good. We really enjoyed this. Yeah. And then years later, you're laughing about it. And it's being uncomfortable is really good.
Yeah, the chaos of travel. That's great. So it almost seems silly at this point to ask, but I like to finish with this question. Are you happy?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. We're happy. If we wouldn't be happy, probably as most people tell you, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Is it perfect? No, we definitely don't want to give off the impression that our life is perfect, that you should do what we do, that we're happier than the next person. It just works for us. And we definitely do have room for improvement. There are things that we would wish that could be different. They wish there was 2 of us at times, or they wish there was 40 hours in a day instead of 24. But overall, we very much are happy. But we are looking forward, obviously, to officially firing, so that the demand on our time is drastically lessened, so that we can enjoy more of life, and the delayed gratification, we can really partake in it.
Yeah, we absolutely love it. It's very satisfying, you know, when you look back at everything that we've done, and we look back at our pictures and our photo albums and the experiences. It leaves us in awe to realize that this is the life that we've lived and the memories that we've made. And for us, it makes us happy, and that's what's important. We know people who never leave their hometown, and they're very happy like that. So for us, this is what brings us joy.
Yeah. We don't want to pass judgment on anyone else on what their definition of travel or fire or lifestyle is. But for us, we're very, very grateful, very fortunate. People have been extremely kind to us, and we hope to continue doing the same thing for the foreseeable future.
Well, thanks so much, you two. You've been a great source of information for me. I like to browse your webpage, and you've talked about some of the things, but there's really millions more on there, little trinkets you drop left and right all the time. And so I invite people to go to your channel, and you've already said it, but it's @𝗏theaverage.com. Is that right? I'm going from memory now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Find us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Reddit, Facebook, but the site is by far, where we focus the majority of our effort on.
Yeah, and so just so people know, as usual, their webpage will be on a link below this YouTube video. You can click that link and head over there and read some of these great concepts they've developed. And thank you so much for your time. I know your time's valuable. You're still a working couple, and really appreciate your taking the time to come to my channel and share your lives with people.
Well, we were honored.
Yeah,
so
you're very welcome. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for reaching out, and we're very glad that Bryce was able to make the introduction, and we were able to stay in touch. And here we are. We look forward to continuing to stay in touch.
Yeah, and thank you, Bryce. Well said. Cool. Well, you two have a wonderful day. Enjoy your day in San Diego. Is that right? You're in San Diego now? Yep. Somewhere? Yeah. Right on. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, if you liked our video, please like, comment, or subscribe. Any of that would help our business. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our video. Click the link in the notes below this video to get a copy of this content. Plus, grab a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 13 Years. While you're there, check out our catalog of retired cheap reports all over the world and our hobby income course that we just released. Thanks so much.